The Thin Man from 1934. Alright, maybe I'm dumb, but I always thought the Thin Man was the main character, but he's not. Theme song. Cartoons Reviews! Cartoons Reviews! Alright, so if you do want to watch The Thin Man, check out the link in the description below. So like I said, I've heard of the Thin Man movies. I've heard they were good, but I didn't know a lot about it. I knew they were about a married couple, and there's lots of witty back and forth between them, and they solve crimes. I thought the husband was the Thin Man. So when I started watching this, I was kind of confused. Turns out he's not the Thin Man. The Thin Man is a old man. He has like this business. He's like an inventor, and he goes missing, and he's suspected of being a murderer. So it's weird that the movie was so successful that they kept calling them the Thin Man movies, and they always put Thin Man in the title, even though it was about one character in the first movie that wasn't even the main character. So what's it about? Well, it starts off with the Thin Man. He's an inventor, and his adult daughter comes in, and he's like, "Dad, I'm getting married. Here's my fiancée."
Dad!
Now, why didn't somebody tell me you were here?
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt your work, darling. Oh, look at you. But this really is important.
How are you? What, another young man?
It's the same one.
It's been the same one for 3 months.
Oh, forgive me. How are you?
How do you do?
Now take a good look at him, Dad. Try to remember him, because he's going to be your son-in-law.
Now, I didn't know that much. I thought, okay, this is the story of how the married couple, the Thin Man and his wife, they got married and a murder happens. No, these are different characters. So the inventor dad, he's like, "That's awesome. I'm leaving town because I got this super secret invention. I'll be back in time for the wedding." Well, it's getting close to the wedding, and the Thin Man's not around. Turns out we see the old man. He is divorced from his wife, the mother of the daughter, and he left her for his secretary. Scandalous. But she had been going behind his back because, for example, when he finds out that his daughter's getting married, he's like, "I'm going to go get these bonds out, and I'm going to cash them out and give them as a wedding gift to my daughter." But the secretary who he'd been hooked up with had stolen those. So he's mad at her, but he still leaves town anywhere. Turns out, dun dun dun, she dies. So there's lots of suspects. He's a suspect. The unsavory characters that she'd been hooked up are suspects.
News of the Julia Wolf murder. Police have found out that the beautiful blonde secretary was once a gangster's girl. They are now looking for the gangster. Clyde Weiner, the girl's employer, is still missing.
And we find the Nick and Nora Charles. Those are the married couple. They are in New York visiting over the Christmas holidays. That's what it kind of said. It's not very Christmassy, but that's the excuse. And they're staying in this hotel. Nora is a heiress, so they got plenty of money. And basically they just sit around partying and drinking all the time.
I'm not taking him. He's taking me.
Are you hurt, madam? Are you hurt, madam?
Oh, women and children first, boys.
Say, what is the score anyway?
Oh, so it's you he was after.
Hello, sugar.
Nick had been a private detective, but he's retired now. And they're like, "Hey, maybe you could help out and figure out." And like, "No, I'm not getting involved." And even his wife is, "Come on, get involved." And he's like, "No, I don't want to."
Wouldn't you like to do a little detecting once in a while just for fun?
Can't you get to sleep?
But because he is so well known, more and more people keep coming to him and they assume he's on the case. Like, why else are you in town if you're not on the case? And there's more and more suspects, more people get killed, and Nick agrees to take the case eventually. But the plot, it's not really the reason to watch it. The plot actually gets a little confusing with so many suspects and so many people dying. The real reason to watch this movie, and I assume the rest of the movies, is the interplay between Nick and Nora. Nora is played by Myrna Loy, and the two of them, they have lot interesting and fun dialogue.
Well, Dorothy is really my daughter. You see, it was spring in Venice. And I was so young I didn't know what I was doing. We're all like that on my father's side.
By the way, how is your father's side?
Oh, it's much better, thanks. And yours?
Say, how many drinks have you had?
This will make 6 martinis.
All right. Will you bring me 5 more martinis? Leo, line them right up here.
Yes, ma'am.
Myrna Loy was great. I remember her from The Bachelor to Bobby Soxer, so, there we go. The film is kind of unique because it was clearly cheaply made, because lots of the scenes take place in this hotel room / apartment. It has like a living room and a kitchen and stuff, but they call it the hotel room. That the Charleses are staying there, and there are even lots of situations where people break in because they assume that he's on the case and things like that, and that's even like where the big scene is where I've called you all together because one of you here is the murderer.
The murderer is right in this room.
And the break-in is one of the odder scenes, because a guy breaks in to the hotel in the middle of the night when Nick and Nora are asleep, and wakes them up, and then holding them at gunpoint. Then the police are alerted. He hears the police knock on the door, tries to get up. Well, Nick wants to protect his wife from the guy with the gun, so what does he do? He hits his wife and knocks her out.
Open up, police!
Why, you two-timing?
Now, she says, like when she wakes up, it's like, oh, you didn't have to hit me, but it's still really weird.
What knocked her out?
I did. She was on the line of fire. Somebody call a doctor, will you? Here, baby. Sweet. Help me up in the bed with her, will you?
Are you all right?
Baby.
You darn fool, you didn't have to knock me out. I knew you'd take him, but I wanted to see you do it.
I enjoyed it. I will say that, like I said, there's so many suspects and so many bodies, and because it is in black and white, and they're all white people, that it gets kind of confusing. Like, who's that dark-haired lady? Is that the one? Oh no, that's a different dark-haired lady. And it is still fun though, and they made lots of sequels. I like this one enough, I might watch the next one to see what it is. But even though the title is deceptive, I'm giving the Thin Man, see how there we go, I was so distracted. I was giving the Thin Man 4 thumbs up. Talking very fast makes you sound witty and smart, but don't punch your wife.